Today we're going to talk about some of the top beginner filmmaking lessons that you can learn by making a video at your local state fair. Lesson number 1, the power of sequences. I think one of the most important things that you can learn as a beginner filmmaker and videographer is to start thinking in terms of sequences, meaning you need to be able to look at an environment and understand what series of shots you need in order to tell a story. And then those shots need to be able to fit together in a way that makes sense when you sit down to edit everything. Now, the great thing about a fair is that when you're filming rides, as long as you're patient, you can record the same thing happening from multiple angles, as many times and in as many ways as you need to. Lesson number 2, the importance of lighting. Lighting is going to change throughout the day, and if you spend enough time at the fair, you're going to see that different rides and different attractions look better at different times of day for this very reason. Now, one of the things that I always try to teach my students is that if you want to start developing an appreciation for and an understanding of light, start by shooting outside. If you use natural light and shoot the same thing at different times of day, with a keen eye, you'll start to develop an appreciation for how subtle changes in light can affect the final look of your video. Lesson number 3, speed ramping and the importance of understanding your camera settings. It's always important to go into a video shoot with a plan. And for this video, I knew I wanted to play around with speed ramping, which meant I wanted to be able to transition from normal speed to slow motion and vice versa. For this reason, much of the footage was shot at 120 frames per second so that I'd be able to do this and retain the smoothness of the footage. Let this be a reminder, though, that you need to understand your camera settings because your creativity will always be limited by what you don't understand. Lesson number 4, the importance of different types of shots. The fair is a great place to experiment with different types of shots because there's so much going on. This goes along with the first lesson because it's much easier to cut sequences together when you have a variety of compositions to play around with. But there's a couple of things that I want to emphasize. In this environment, it can be fun to capture moving shots where you're following the action, but it can also be fun to shoot through things. In this case, it's also important to understand focus and how to lock focus on the part of the composition that you want to stay in focus. And remember, like we talked about in my 10 essential tips for new filmmakers video, you have control over directing the viewer's attention. This means choose your shots wisely. Always be asking yourself, what is it that you want the viewer to see and experience? And lastly, lesson number 5, the fair is a great place to get over your fear of filming in public. Now, it might not seem like it because there's going to be so many people around, but the fact that there are so many people around is exactly why it's one of the best places to do just that. What do I mean? Well, these people aren't going to be focused on you. Think about it. If you walked into a room and there were only a few people in that room, and then you pulled out your camera, everybody's going to be paying attention to you. The fact that there's so many people at the fair having fun with friends and family means they really don't care what you're doing. I've gone to the fair to film multiple times over the course of multiple years, and very rarely has anyone come up to me, and when they do, it's always a pleasant experience. Now, if you want to continue learning some simple lessons that will help you as a beginner filmmaker, I recommend you check out this video next. And feel free to leave a comment down below if there are topics that you want to see covered in future videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.